I want to talk to you about hunger and energy and cravings. So these are the three things that I want you to start listening to over the next few weeks when it comes to your meals and your meal timings and what you're including in your meals to make sure that they're fit for you, okay? And by that, I mean that everybody can eat from that meal. If you all ate exactly from the meal plan, some of you might be just completely fine and satisfied, and others might be starving to death. Others might be craving, others might have brain fog. It really just depends on your body, your hormonal balance, your metabolism, the health of your metabolism, what activity you typically have during the day, and what activity maybe you got that particular day, okay? So I want to teach you today about how to kind of monitor those things so that you can know that you're eating enough food. So I have one client right now who I've got her tracking her food because she has about another 50 pounds to lose, maybe 45, but she probably doesn't eat enough. And a lot of times we think, well, I'm probably eating too much, or how can I be overweight if I'm not barely eating anything? Well, this is kind of a survival mechanism that our body puts us through. If we go through this mode of not eating enough calories, it can be just as hazardous to our health, particularly the speed of our metabolism, as eating too many calories, okay? So one thing I want you to do is I want you to, this week, as you're eating your meals, I want you to check in about, 30 minutes to 2 hours after your meals and do kind of a little bit of a head to toe check, okay? I want you to check for a few things. One, I want you to check, this is what you want to write down. I want you to check for your hunger levels. Are the meals that you're eating keeping you satiated or satisfied for about 3, maybe even 4 hours? If that is the case, then you're doing awesome. You're probably getting a really good balance of carbohydrates, proteins, and fats. If you are finding you're starving after 2 hours, you probably need to make some adjustments because nobody wants to live having to eat every 2 hours and to be hungry. It's also an indication that you're not getting enough calories in to supply your body's energy needs where it is today. It's also really important to remember that where you are today could be different in 6 weeks from now, 8 weeks, 12 weeks, a year. So that's why these tools are really important to learn to listen to your body, because your body's going to be changing. You're going to get more and more fit. You might be putting on more muscle, which needs to be fed more. You might put on more fat in the future, and you might find that you need to adjust things according to that. You might find yourself under a lot of stress, and you need to listen to your body to determine if your hunger cues are actually coming from hunger or they're coming from like a stress, like an emotional place, okay? So when it comes to hunger, on those hunger, energy, and cravings ratings, I wanna make sure that your meals are satisfying you for 3 to 4 hours, okay? And then at 3 to 4 hours, you should just start to be feeling like, oh yeah, I could eat, like I'm not starving, but I probably should get near some food pretty soon, okay? Now, if you find yourself really hungry after 2 hours, you're probably thinking, well, what do I eat then? Okay, so what you want to be thinking about then is whatever meal I just ate, I want you to start by adding in some more protein. So if you ate eggs, maybe you ate, a lot of people come to me and they're eating egg whites only. Okay, there's not a lot of fat in that. There's some protein, but you might probably need more fat and proteins to keep you full. So proteins, fats, and fiber are what keep us fuller longer. Okay, so you're always going to resort first to protein, then to fiber, and then to fats when it comes to trying to get yourself satiated longer. Okay, so protein first. So let's say you ate 2 eggs for breakfast and it just wasn't enough. You could add a 3rd egg, or you could add another little source of protein. Maybe you could add a little bit of meat to your eggs, okay? So that's your first option, and then go with that, see how that works. That might be that perfect, just even the littlest bit sometimes can really make a big difference when it comes to keeping us satiated. So take note, how much did I add and how did it do for me? Did it keep me fuller longer? If that didn't work, you might consider adding some more fiber to that meal. So go ahead and have the 2 eggs, add a little bit of extra meat, and then maybe add some more vegetables. Maybe saute up some peppers and some onions, and I even use that bagged broccoli slaw that you can get at the store. I keep those on hand to saute up and throw them in my eggs. I love sweet potatoes in my eggs, so good. So consider adding more vegetables to that particular meal. and then test it out and see how it does for you. Remember at the very beginning, I said it's all an experiment. This is the testing part of the experiment. All right, so we got to learn to kind of like dabble in different things, just kind of be a detective and see how your body responds. The other thing to watch for is your energy. If your energy is crashing just a couple hours or 30 minutes to 2 hours after your meal, you're probably not getting enough food or calories. I would probably, again, start with protein. If you had a really busy, active day and you sweat a bunch at the gym and you were super active in the garden or whatever, I would then consider, and I was crashing after a couple hours, I would consider adding in a few more starchy carbohydrates. You don't hear me talk much, and you don't hear fitness people talk much about carbohydrates. They are really important for energy, okay? That's what provides our energy in the body. Sometimes carbohydrates get a really bad rap, and that's what makes me store fat. But if you have a super active day, your body is calling for more energy to fuel that day. So it's a great day to put in some extra carbs, okay? And I want you to be careful about thinking of, I was super busy today, so I get to eat ice cream, okay? I want you to listen to your body. If your body doesn't need the extra carbs and your energy levels are fine and you're thinking clearly and you're not hungry, you're fine. You're doing fine. That's exactly where you want to be. You want your body to always feel fine, okay? So try not to fall into the trap of like, wow, I burned a lot so I can eat a lot, especially if fat loss is your goal, okay? Because ultimately at the end of the day, if fat loss is your goal, we need to take in fewer calories than we put out, okay? However, we have to find that fine balance of taking in fewer calories without going too low so that our hunger, energy, and cravings is starting to crash, or our hunger and energy are crashing and our cravings are going up, which leads me to the third thing, cravings. If you find yourself craving a lot, now this week is kind of a cravey week for a lot of people because we're only in week 2. Your body is still trying to get used to a new way of eating, and it's getting used to not eating a lot of processed foods and sugary foods. So give yourself some room here to feel the cravings. I put in the file section here in the Facebook group the Cravings Conqueror worksheet, okay? That's going to help you. Go ahead and print that off, and that's going to help you get or read it. It's going to help you get through tough times of cravings. But I want you to be aware that if you're craving, sometimes it's, again, I would say go to fiber and protein first. And then if that doesn't subside, then go for something fatty. Not like massively fatty, but just add a little bit, like a thumb serving, maybe even a half a thumb serving of fat to your meal can really make a big difference in squelching some cravings. Usually the reasons cravings happen, if it's a food-related craving, is that we took in too much sugar or starchy carbohydrates at one chunk, and maybe even by themselves, and then the body utilized them. And then, so our blood sugars were up here, and now our body put them to good use, and now our blood sugars are kind of down in the tank, which means we crashed, and our body is like, oh, time for more. I need more. I need more energy to get me up, okay? So this way of eating that I'm teaching you is really balanced when it comes to the protein, carbs, and fat, and fiber. And that should really calm your cravings down a lot. I think the main thing that when people first come to me is they're just eating too many sugars and carbohydrates, and they're going up and down and up and down, and that's just driving their metabolism wacky and their cravings through the roof. So you want to be cautious of that. But by now, if you're eating according to the meal plan, you might not be having any trouble with that because you're eating a really well blood sugar balanced diet, okay?